All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is how this unit is going to work. We are looking at King Henry VIII. Better put the 8 in there. And the Church of England. So there's going to be a variety of things you do, but first, here I have a little video here I'm making right now. So I'm glad you're watching this. So here's what you do. Okay, first thing is take a look at this introductory reading, and this will give you a feel for the situation. Real brief, real simple. I have some added information if you click on the audio there. So start with that. Next, you need to look at the instructions for your main project. All right, so here's what we're doing in this project. You're going to create a radio show. Now, you might do that with an actual video or audio interview where you make a radio show with some other kids in your class, or you could do that with like having a written transcript of the interview where you have, King Henry said this and Anne Boleyn said this and go back and forth a little bit if you're more interested in that. Or you create a comic. Make a comic of what it would be like for these people to go back and forth if they're talking about these topics. And so in creating this radio show, you have to talk about at least 2 of the people in this category right here. And you have to talk about at least 5 of the topics right here. Okay, so it's very important that you get 2 of these people at least and at least 5 of these topics. How's it going to work? Well, you have 3 options, like I said, video or audio recording. Just make sure whatever format you use, you can easily email it. Well, not email it. Share it in Google Classroom. If that doesn't work, email it to your teacher. Written transcript, that's just Google Doc. Comic option, you can, if you want to do it on the computer with Powtoons or something like that, great. If you want to do it your own copy on paper, you could just take a picture and send that in. A few options here for recording. I love using onlinevoicerecorder.com. It works really great. I haven't tried it on Chromebooks. So I'm not sure how it'll work on there. Otherwise, if you want to use your iPhone, if you have other recording software you want to use, go ahead, whatever works. Here's your grading rubric in terms of how I am grading things for this. 17 points total, which is kind of high for a single assignment. And then here's some resources here. So let's go back to your instruction sheet. Now that we know what you're doing, let's see what we have next. Complete Reform 3, King Henry fill-in worksheet. So here's our Reform section. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I want to go back. Okay, so we're looking at the instruction sheet. There's a reading we looked at. Here is the fill-in worksheet. So what you do for this is basically fill in the story below, and you are either going to fill in the end of the sentence, or like as you see down here, what are the answers for the fill in the blank spots? And you'll put all of these on the right over there. And this is going to give you the overview of what's happening with King Henry VIII. If you do well with this, you have all the information you need for your interview. So really use this. If you click here, we give you the textbook pages that you will use to answer those questions. Everything will be found in these 2 pages, and everything's in order. I checked it out myself, so we're in good shape there. Okay, so do that next. So let's go back to our instruction sheet. After that, watch these 2 videos. The first one here,
distance. It's made it clear
of course, after you have an ad, is TED Ed, and it just gives you kind of a back and forth on Henry VIII and how people felt about him. So that's pretty interesting. The second one here does a great job of really explaining, how he was a very fervent Catholic and why he goes against the church, and how one of his future wives fits in there, and what happened with that. So those 2 videos are pretty good. So watch those 2 videos, and then you can complete the broadcast as we already looked at before. And as you're doing this, down here I give you your resources. Use that fill-in worksheet. That is your best resource. If you want to look back at the textbook, you can. The videos we just watched, they're great. There's an article here as well that talks about each of his wives and gives a little background on each. So you can always look at that as well. So the end result we are looking at is turning in your radio broadcast. And you'll actually turn that in right here in whatever format it is, and you'll be all set for this unit. So if you have any questions, let your teacher know, and we'll go from there. Thanks.